I spoke to a Ford Ranger owner who wishes they had a Toyota Tacoma. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Robmotive. So I had something interesting today. I actually spoke to a real-life Ford Ranger owner who told me he wished he had or had bought a Toyota Tacoma. So let me tell you how this happened. You know, I had the Tacoma out. I was at the gas station. You know, I frequent that, it seems. And I was getting gas, and beside me, you know, on the next stall over, whatever, pulled in a Ford Ranger. Nice looking truck. I think it was black, if I remember. Might have been silver or gray, I'm not sure. And I always notice trucks, regardless of what they are. Notice I said regardless, not irregardless. I'm trying. So he pulls in, I looked up, I noticed the truck, and you know, I went about my business, I'm getting my gas, and then I see somebody out of the corner of my eye walking around, you know, around the little pump island there. And we start talking about the truck. He said he liked the Tacoma, liked what I'd done with it. Of course, you know, being a modder, I showed him all the things that I had done because I'm proud of my truck. So I asked him, had he done anything to his? And he said no, he hadn't done anything to it because he didn't want to put any money into it. And I found that kind of curious. So I asked him, well, what do you mean? Why not? And he said, well, because he's not happy with the truck. So I pressed him a little bit because, you know, I could see a video coming in my head, right? Of course, I didn't put him on camera. You know, you don't meet a stranger and stick a camera in their face. But I did tell him I was going to talk about it on the web. I obviously wouldn't give any names or anything like that. So I asked him, you know, well, what's wrong with it? Why don't you like it? Because that was the feeling that I got. There were a few things that he said. One, shortly after he got the truck, he had a check engine light pop up. You know, that dreaded thing that happens that you're always worrying about, and I don't really care what model or maker you get. It's always in the back of my mind when I get a new vehicle, a new truck, that something's going to happen because it is brand new and it was assembled by humans and robots. So I asked him what was the problem. He had taken it into the shop, and apparently there was some sort of a loose sensor wire or something like that. It wasn't a big deal. They replaced the sensor, I believe he said, and everything was fine, and he hadn't had any troubles with it since then. So no mechanical issues, and he'd had it about, I think he said about 6 or 8 months, something like that, since. So no other mechanical issues, but he said that he had a Tacoma before and that it was a much better truck than what this new Ford Ranger was. He told me that while it is decently powerful off the line, I mean, when he takes off the line, he said it's quick enough for him. Of course, that's all relevant. It depends on the driver and the person and what you expect and what you want, I guess. But he said that was fine, but he said after that, it seemed kind of laggy to him, or that it kind of ran out of power. It just didn't have anything left after the turbo spooled out. And he thought his Tacoma was quicker on the long run. And the example he gave me was on the freeway and passing somebody, like a couple of semis or something. Like when he would get over to pass, he would have the power to take off a bit, but then he found it sort of laboring as he continued to try to get around these trucks. That was the example he gave. I don't know. And of course, that would be at speed, you know, as he's doing 65, 85, whatever miles per hour. So he didn't like that about it. He told me he thought that the Ranger was a little bit more claustrophobic inside, that it didn't feel as spacious or as open. Now that could be just the design layout, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, if you change just a few things, the cab can start to close in on you a little bit, right? So he said he didn't like that. He felt like he had more room in his previous Tacoma, and I don't know what year he had. I assume it was, you know, within the last 3, 4, 5 years, but I don't know that for sure. Could have been a 1994 for all I know. So he didn't like that about it, and he said he didn't like the way the seat sat. He said he could never get comfortable in it. Between the way the angle of his seat was, I would think you could adjust that. Certainly the Ford Ranger has electric seats. I'm not sure myself, but I'm assuming they do. So I don't know why. Maybe it was the steering wheel position. You know, I've ridden in trucks before where I just couldn't get the steering wheel where I wanted it. Either it wouldn't telescope out far enough, or I couldn't get it up high enough or low enough because of the way it hits. It didn't have enough travel in it, if you will, for me. So who knows what that was all about. The other thing that he mentioned was mileage, fuel economy. He did state that it was a bit better, a little bit better than what his Tacoma was, but not what he expected it to be for a 4-cylinder turbo type engine. He expected it to be better. And, you know, it kind of reminds me of the new Tundra a little bit. You know, Toyota came out with all these numbers and it's going to get great fuel economy, and then in the real world, it doesn't. Because, of course, they're going to announce the best that they can get before they put it out to the public. So all they really have to do is achieve those numbers in ideal situations. Well, you know, we don't all drive in ideal situations, right? Some people have a heavier foot than others. Some people are driving more uphill on steeper grades than others all the time. If you live in a hilly area, you know, like where I live, it's flat. I live in the valley in South Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley, and it's flat. We don't have any hills. I think the biggest hill I actually go up here is the one going into my garage. So it depends on many things, I suppose, and I don't know if that's always a fair comparison, and I don't know if that was a fair comparison for him with the Ranger. You know, he might have had a heavy foot, be one of these people that's got to be first off the line every time the light turns green. I don't know. So I just found it kind of interesting. It's the first opportunity I've had to speak with a real Ford Ranger owner to kind of get their opinion on what the truck is and what they like about it. And even better, he was a previous Tacoma owner. So I think he probably had a really good idea for his experience of what the two trucks are like and comparing one against the other. So I'm curious, if you're out there in Tacoma land or internet land and you're watching this video and you've had a Ford Ranger before, maybe you're driving a Ford Ranger right now and you're considering going to a Toyota Tacoma, what did you think, or what do you think of the comparison between the Ford Ranger and the Toyota Tacoma? Do you favor one or the other over each one or not? I'd be curious to know. And also, why? Leave a comment, let me know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Robmotive FST, all about full-size trucks. And Robmotive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Almost forgot what it was there for a minute. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.